Have you ever noticed how emotions sabotage your sharpest thoughts? You want to confront someone who disrespected you. Your heart races. Your hands shake. You're no longer thinking. You're reacting. And in that moment, you've already lost. Now imagine this instead. You feel the same disrespect, but there's no reaction, no anger, no rush of adrenaline, only silence. You're not passive, you're calculating. You're watching their every move, every word, while your mind stays still. This isn't detachment, it's weaponized focus. Emotionless thinking isn't numbness. It's the removal of noise that clouds your decisions, clouds your vision, clouds your power. When everyone else is drowning in emotional waves, you become the one standing on solid ground. That's when they start to fear you, not because you shouted louder, not because you fought back harder, but because you didn't react at all. And in that silence, you showed them something stronger than rage, control. They say passion fuels greatness, but history is full of people who destroyed everything in the heat of emotion. You move different. You don't let emotion make your choices. You let logic lead. Emotionless thinking turns you into the version of yourself that doesn't get manipulated, baited, or broken. It makes you unshakable in the middle of chaos. And it's in that stillness, right there, where your dominance begins. The world teaches you to feel first, think later, react fast, speak loud, show emotion. It makes you real. But here's the secret. The more emotion you show, the easier you are to predict. Anger gives them a roadmap to your weakness. Desperation gives them access to your core. Fear, that's the crack they'll use to control you. Now flip it. Imagine walking through conflict, unfazed. People try to trigger you, but nothing lands. They push, provoke, insult, but you're still calm, empty of reaction. That's not emptiness. That's psychological warfare. Because silence under pressure isn't silence. It's dominance. It's data collection. It's power concealed in plain sight. This is how emotionless thinking works. It keeps your vision clear while everyone else is blind. It lets you hear what others miss, because they're too loud inside their own heads. You see patterns they ignore. You catch motives behind words. You read intention in body language they never noticed. And it's not just awareness, it's advantage. Every second you remain calm is a second they lose clarity. They start questioning their own moves. They overthink. They spiral. All because you didn't react. You flipped the script. In their world, no reaction means they won. But in yours, no reaction means they walked into your frame. That's the shift. You stop living in their game. You make them play in yours. And once they're inside your silence, you already own the outcome. You You don't need to be cold. You just need to stop bleeding emotion into every situation. Emotionless doesn't mean lifeless. It means selective. It means choosing not to waste your energy on things that don't deserve it. Most people hand out their reactions like candy. They're offended by everything. They explain themselves to everyone, and slowly they lose power bit by bit until there's nothing left. Because when your emotions are public, you become public property, and the world will treat you like it owns you. But what happens when you stop giving that access? You stop explaining your silence. You stop defending your peace. You stop apologizing for your stillness. And suddenly, you become unpredictable, not because you're trying to be mysterious, but because you're no longer broadcasting your every internal twitch. They don't know what you're thinking. They don't know what you'll do next. They can't manipulate what they can't read. Now the power flips. You're no longer reacting to their energy. They're reacting to yours. Every room you walk into, you control the temperature. You walk slower, speak less, listen deeper. You become the gravity that pulls attention without asking for it, not because you raised your voice, but because you lowered your noise. That's what emotionless thinking gives you: presence, precision, power. The kind of power that doesn't just get noticed, it gets respected. And if you're still here, you're not just watching anymore. You're transforming. Subscribe now to master the silence that makes others listen, and never miss the power that keeps them watching. They'll tell you silence is passive. They'll say if you don't speak up, you'll get walked over. But look again. Who controls the room? It's not the loudest person. It's the one who doesn't need noise to be noticed. It's the one whose stillness makes others nervous. Because silence carries weight. It forces people to fill the gap, to guess what you're thinking, to chase your approval without you lifting a finger. That's how you create gravity, not by pulling people in, but by letting them fall into your orbit. Emotionless thinking builds this kind of energy. It strips away your need to please. It disconnects your sense of identity from how others feel about you. You stop living on reaction. You start living on intention, and that's rare. Most people are stuck in an emotional loop. They speak to be validated. They post to be seen. They react just to feel alive. But you've stepped out of that cycle. You've become the observer, not the participant. You measure before you move. You think 3 steps ahead. This is why your silence intimidates people, not because you're hiding something, but because you've stopped broadcasting your weaknesses. You've closed the door, and people fear what they can't access. But here's what matters most. This silence you're building, it isn't just about the world outside. It's about protecting your inner kingdom, your peace, your discipline, your clarity. This is the space where nothing enters unless you allow it. No insult, no praise, no distraction. You've trained your mind to pause, to analyze, to strike only when the outcome is already yours. And that makes you dangerous, not because of what you say, but because of what you no longer need to explain. There's a reason the most dangerous people say the least. It's not that they lack words, it's that they understand when to use them. They don't waste truth on ears that won't hear it. They don't hand power to people who play with emotions, because once you speak, you reveal. Once you react, you expose. And once you're exposed, you're predictable. But silence, that keeps you undefined. And what they can't define, they can't defeat. Emotionless thinking sharpens this even more. You're not just quiet, you're intentional. You're not just holding back, you're holding power. You learn to observe how people move when you're not giving them feedback. Who tries to provoke you? Who gets uncomfortable with your calm? Who pushes harder just to get a rise out of you? And now you know who's trying to manipulate your mind. They don't want your silence because it removes their grip. Your detachment breaks their control loop. It takes away their favorite weapon, your reaction. So you become the glitch in their system, the one variable they can't account for. That's why they call you cold, because they can't warm you up to their drama, because you don't fall for the bait. And while they're trying to pull you into chaos, you're mapping the exits. You're calculating the long game. They're playing checkers. You're already 10 moves ahead in chess. This is the game of dominance without noise, power without permission, clarity without chaos. And the best part? Nobody sees it coming, because everyone's still busy reacting. Most people live their lives trying to be understood. They explain, they justify, they hope someone sees their side. But when you master emotionless thinking, you stop needing to be seen. You realize your power was never in being understood. It was in being unshaken, and that's the shift. You don't ask for space. You become space. You don't demand peace. You embody it. No one can give you the silence you need, because it's not outside you. It's built from within. In a world of noise, your quiet is a weapon. In a world of constant reactions, your pause is rare. In a world of chaos, your clarity is terrifying. And the truth is, you don't need to outtalk anyone. You just need to outlast their noise, because the moment you do, they collapse under the weight of their own chaos. And you stay standing, unmoved, untouched, unbreakable. Now here's the question you've been avoiding. If your silence makes you this powerful, what would happen if you never broke it again? Subscribe if you're done being loud just to be heard, and ready to let your silence do the talking. What you do next says everything.